Hi everyone. We're going to get started in about 5 minutes. The band, our awesome band, is playing their last song. Feel free to give them a wow.
You're all set? You're fine, you're fine.
That's fine. My biggest, I didn't want to walk in front of that one, y'all. I'll let you get settled and then we shall begin. That's me. That's my cue. So hello everyone, I am Lauren Kayleen, and for the last time I get to say that I serve as the Assistant Director of the Fierce Flower Poetry Center at James Madison University under Dr. Joanne Gabbin. I want to thank you all for being here today, whether with us in person or joining us online. Wave out, shout out to the online audience as we celebrate not only Dr. Gabbin's incredible accomplishments, but also her incredible being, and congratulate her on her distinguished career and well-earned retirement.
Yes.
If you are here, it's because she's impacted you in some way, whether it is with a class. Feel free to shout out if you hear something that resonates. A class, a word of advice, an opportunity, a shoulder to cry on, a poem, a talk, a laugh, or just an example of how to be in the world. And she's been back to so many others here on campus and in the community and out in the world. And as you see, if you've grabbed one of these, we have a long program of tributes and presentations lined up. So I'm going to get it going with our greetings from JMU President Jonathan Alger. Now let's see if I can do tech.
together to celebrate the unparalleled career of Dr. Joanne Gabbin. I'm so sorry that I can't be with you in person today to celebrate the tremendous impact that Joanne has made on the university, our community, and the world of poetry in America and beyond. Joanne has been with JMU for many years, having joined us in 1985 as a faculty member in English. She subsequently served as the first director of our honors program, which has now blossomed, pun intended, into a full-fledged honors college. Of course, people everywhere know Joanne as the founding executive director of the Furious Flower Poetry Center. She's been a true visionary in the field, dating back to her hosting of the premier Furious Flower Poetry Conference in 1994, the first academic conference focused on Black poetry. I was especially excited to see that the Mellon Foundation has recognized the significance of this work in awarding a major grant to JMU to preserve and share the Furious Flower archives. Not long ago, many of us were fortunate to attend the magical and inspiring 25th anniversary celebration of the Furious Flower Poetry Center held in Washington, D.C., where I got up my nerve and actually shared a poem with my own. I'm so grateful that Joanne wasn't giving out grades that night. Joanne does know how to throw a party, and that event was one of the highlights of my years here at JMU. Generations of JMU graduates have benefited from Joanne's dedication as a teacher and scholar. I hear her name frequently when I meet with alumni, and I know she has made a difference in the lives of many students. She's won many awards over the years, among them the prestigious Outstanding Faculty Award, the State Council of Higher Education for Virginia. And who can forget the event in fall 2021 when we honored Joanne and her husband Alex with the rededication of a historic building on the Bluestone Quad. Joanne and Alex to this university and community. Joanne's legacy will be measured by much more than her resume, however. She was one of the first people at JMU who came to see me in my office after I arrived in JMU. Her warmth, grace, passion, and persistence were immediately Joanne was a force of nature in the best possible sense, and I knew this was someone I needed to know and support. Joanne has been a tireless advocate for social justice, and a voice for many whose own voices have not always been heard or welcomed. She has mentored other faculty and encouraged students from marginalized backgrounds. Yet, in speaking up and speaking out forcefully, Joanne has always done so with kindness as well as courage. I deeply appreciated her wise counsel at times when we were making good trouble, as John Lewis would have said. And at times when words seemed to fail us, Joanne has been there to lift up our spirits. When we had an impromptu gathering of hope on the quad this year after a time of tragic losses, it was Joanne who took the crowd to a higher plane with an original poem that met the urgent needs of the moment. We've all been fortunate to have Joanne in our midst, and her legacy will never be forgotten. Congratulations, Joanne. Please stay in touch with us and visit often. We love you, and you'll always be part of the JMU family.
In the meantime, we will shout out our online audience. We have folks joining us from all over. Thank you so much. And we'll get to that shortly because now this is back again, so I have to stall. Our speakers will not be introduced today, but they will introduce themselves. And next up, our provost.
singular force, and it is difficult to imagine the JMU without her. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
I remember well the first day I met her. I was so drawn in by her calm effervescence, her insistence on reaching out, and her steady, piercing gaze. And now, almost 5 years later, I have nothing but awe and admiration for her unmatched life force. Last week, I had an image of Joanne as a giant baobab tree. And I wondered if perhaps someone had written a poem about a baobab. Well, you know, I found one. Don't worry, I didn't write it. I hope everyone in this room has had or will have a chance to see these magnificent trees dotted across the landscape of Africa. In this poem, The Baobab Tree, by the Ghanaian poet John Agendine, you will quickly hear why, for me, Joanne is more like a baobab than anybody else I know. I don't know if you know this poet, Joanne, but he definitely knows you. Here is The Baobab Tree by John Agendine. On a hallowed spot at home stands a tall, mighty baobab, steeped in myth and legend, a massive and hefty girth, thick, wide, and stout arms. Bare in the rayless moons, and green cloaked with the showers. From every house it calls, girls and boys, men and women, the old and the young, the nimble and the slow, birds, bees, beasts, and bats. To all and sundry it welcomes with food, sweetness, and shelter. In its arms, shrouded or naked, or under its shaded bare ground, we play, we laugh, we rest, we court. For the fresh, nourishing leaves, our mothers fight the caterpillars. And for the lip-smacking nectar, we wrestle the bees at dawn, fearing neither their ominous hum nor the eventual virulent sting, devouring the budding flowers into tummies that squirm in protest. And for fruit, fresh or dry, at last we climb and climb and climb, passing from limb to limb until the entire land lies at our feet. Looking down, our legs quake in fright, our young hearts pound furious, and our feet are jellied. Hail the mighty baobab, hail the mothering love, peerless in height and size, great in aid and shade, defiant in the parched land, neither the drought nor the flood fears. But the mighty harmattan mocks, and the fierce blazing sun scoffs. Blooming or shedding the greenery at her own sweet will and time, and her fruit are constant in season. Anger or malice she knows not, neither a grumble nor a wail she utters, but within her big beating heart keeps all the pain and scars of a harassed land. If we but learn her ways, we should be twice blessed over in this harsh and remorseless world.
Beautiful.
Good afternoon, Joanne. Congratulations. Many of you are probably aware that Dr. Gabbin has played a significant role in shaping the culture of honors at JMU. Some might call her an honors legend. When Dr. Gabbin was named director of the honors program in 1986, the program was primarily a senior honors thesis requirement, much as it had been since the program's inception in 1961. Dr. Newcomer, former dean of the Honors College, notes that our current Honors College is built on several foundational structures put in place by Dr. Gabbin in her 19 years of service as director of the Honors Program. Among these are the key role played by faculty mentors, honor-specific courses that provide opportunities for challenging interdisciplinary learning, and interdisciplinary programming that weaves honors into the academic fabric of the university, And she did this all while avoiding elitism. In recognition of Dr. Gabbin's service and honors, Sean and Michelle Tobin helped formalize the new Honors College by establishing in 2017 the first name professorship in the college, the Dr. Joanne Gabbin Professorship. Some of you probably know the full Sean Tobin story. The short version is that Sean made his generous gift after Dr. Gabbin had kicked him out of honors in the early 1990s. According to Sean, it was the way she kicked him out that was worth recognition. It turns out that being kicked out was key to him finding success in business after college. For those of you not familiar with the full story, I recommend you read Martha Graham's 2017 article in JMU News. After endowing the professorship, Tobin mused, "I hope future students have a Joanne in their lives." That comment deserves worth a pause. I hope future students have a Joanne in their lives. For Tobin, having a Joanne in their lives means to have someone other than your parents care enough to see your latent talents and push you to manifest them. To me, Tobin's comments suggest a bit more. Back in the early 2000s, my first JMU honors thesis student, Lynn Albright, you may remember Lynn, told me simply one day that Joanne was amazing. When probed, Lynn let me know that meant that Joanne spun a kind of awe around each and every intellectual topic she encountered. It meant that deep curiosity animated classroom discussions. It meant that open-heartedness was the emotional quality of engagement. In short, it meant to me that Joanne was a professor's professor, someone I wanted to emulate. I too wanted to be amazing to every student I taught. In addition to being a professor's professor, I have seen over my 22 years of experience with her that Joanne is undoubtedly genuine. You're seeing a trend here, right? Being genuine means to me that she is fully individuated in the Jungian sense, fully herself, fully who she is as a person. When I encounter Joanne's kind of self, I see the power of authenticity when it's paired with the spirit of learning. That kind of authenticity frees us to be who we are in this moment, while also not allowing ourselves to be complacent in our own unfolding. We all can and should grow and learn. We all can and should aspire to be no less than amazing. In recognition of all these gifts given to us by Dr. Gabbin's Joanne-ness, I think it's fitting at this time that we all thank privately all the Joannes that have intersected with our lives. It's probably also fitting that we commit ourselves to being our own kind of Joannes for our students and for each other. What better way to honor a JMU honors legend? Congratulations.
My name is Joanne White, and in addition to being an associate dean at the College of Arts and Letters, I'm also a colleague of Joanne's in English, so I'm very pleased to be standing here. The dean himself, Robert Aguirre, is out of the country and regrets that he could not be here today. But he wanted me to read these remarks sent on behalf of the entire College of Arts and Letters. Joanne, you have served this college and all of JMU with great distinction for so many years. It hardly seems possible to summarize your many contributions. You have shown as a teacher, a scholar, an advocate, and a builder. Rare is the individual who can claim a record of excellence in so many areas. If this were the sum of your achievements, it would beg a description. JMU has been truly blessed by your unflagging efforts in all these areas. But surpassing all of these is your service to the humanities. With the call of prophecy on your tongue, you have embodied the idea that the humanities are at the very heart of liberal education. This has been clear in your championing of Black poetry, a tradition that goes back to Phyllis Wheatley, the first of many furious flowers. Through your work, you have taught us something lasting and true. The logos of human expression belongs to us all. The song it sings, sometimes joyous, sometimes full of pain, is inseparable from our common humanity. This is not, or not only, a matter of historical preservation. It is a map of a more hopeful future. On this day of commemoration, we are grateful for the seeds you have planted, which will flower in the years to come. Thank
you. Again, I want to shout out our online audience. We are also keeping records of your comments, so feel free to go nuts in the chat and we will show Joanne all of your comments later. We have a surprise. I have learned well from Dr. Joanne Gabbin. Oh God, what did I do? Okay. And in a little break in our program to have our inaugural Carmen Gillespie Fellow give us a poem. Welcome, Jordan Alexander.
Surprise! Okay, so I wrote something like today is like before the speech. I'm going to keep it short. And don't be mad at me, I'm reading on from today.
All right.
Okay.
And use the mic.
I will. Okay, my time with Dr. Joanne Gabbin has been some of the most inspirational and motivating times of my life. You've been kind and caring, and someone I can come to when academia is getting in trouble or when I just need to talk. I've been gifted with a unique opportunity of being Furious Flowers inaugural Carmen R. Gillespie Fellow, and I will never take this opportunity for granted. I can't thank you enough for what you've done for me and what you've done for students who may be here, who may not be here, for everybody in this room. You are really an amazing gardener. You've planted so many seeds. I wrote you a poem about it. It's called Gardens to Come. I'm going to try not to cry. Okay. Look around you at the vastness of all of us, of this brightness in this singular room, enough to power tribes and communities alike. Unique in our own right, but placed in the right spot just before the dirt dried up. Let your feet be planted firmly in this place of where it began. Look around you and see growth, see accomplishments, see a garden filled with love, drive, intelligence, change, and hope. The same words that were kept in mind when you started here are the same words that you bloom from. A generation of beautiful flowers and radiates through skin so deep and diverse with words that without this place wouldn't be said. We've been gifted beautiful flowers from a garden you've planted and tended to so carefully so it can grow and stretch their stems and leaves into places thought to only be reachable in the mind, not past the borders of this garden. You've been asked to do a lot of favors, a lot of shifting in this place by the wind that tried to uproot you. But just one more time, look around you and listen to me, a flower of this garden, planted with generous hands. I'll keep my roots here, and everyone else keep your roots too. So if we ever lose our way, you can reach back to these seeds, to this soil, familiar and nutrient, and keep in mind that your stories of strength and beauty reside in this space you've created for generations to come. You just simply have to look around you. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, George.
Ready for more? Joanne, I'm here to represent the English department in presenting you the gift, which I need to acknowledge up front, feels presumptuous that we could ever possibly reciprocate in equal measure your gift to us, our department, our university, our nation, and really the whole world. Your gifts are far greater than anything we could give you, but symbols are really important. So I am here humbly to offer a symbol of our gratitude, our admiration, and our friendship. In the English department, I represent both a colleague and a former student. In 1994, a whole 28 years ago, I had the sheer good fortune to invoke Toni Morrison of being in your African American poetry class during the very same semester that you launched the first Furious Flower Conference. You changed my life, and I'm just one person. You have changed thousands of lives, and you will continue to change thousands of lives with your legacy. And I'm just going to try to encapsulate maybe at least two of the main ways that you've done that, and what you've taught me, and what I'm hearing, and what other people are saying that you've taught so many. One, in a society that prizes individualism and myths of the self-made man, you have modeled the power of the collective to effect change. Through conferences, hundreds of readings and classes, the Wintergreen Women's Writers Collective poetry camps, you created spaces that foster and amplify many, many voices. Voices that have been historically suppressed, misrepresented, and otherwise under threat of being left out of the record. And you basically said, no, they're being left out. And simultaneously, yes. And you brought a big yes and brought so many voices together and created a robust, regenerating collective of amplification. It is, as Jordan said, like a great garden that you and your wonderful staff and co-conspirators keep replenishing. That is the body and legacy of Furious Flower, whose very health and strength is a testament to the power of creating goodwill, like over and over again, creating goodwill and feeding a community on poetry. I'm also thinking about mothers along the coast of West Africa who, when they could not save their children from being abducted across the Atlantic, braided rice and the seeds of other grains into their children's hair so that when they reached wherever they were going, they would have something to eat. You too are a mother, a midwife, a griot of this time. We have really needed you. And poetry, the poetry you've put in our hands, like seeds and grains, contains the sustaining power, a sustaining power in its DNA. Poetry contains the textures of ancient and living cultures and the dreams, wisdoms, and strengths of the ancestors, reaching across time and place, saying, here, you're gonna need this. In that DNA, you will find all the riches, all the tenacious, syncretic weavings of the diaspora that made this poetry, that made us possible. You will find the AAB structure of the blues and the ABBA CD, so on and so forth, of the Petrarchan sonnets. You will find Rare Rabbit, Anansi, Grimm's fairy tales, Greek mythology. You will find the oracular improvisational qualities of spoken word and the reproducibility of print and digital culture. You basically have said to us, here is this river, to invoke Langston Hughes, that's made out of many rivers, and it's a living river. Here it is for you, for all of us. And again, because we knew that we would need it. We would all need it. Poetry is not a luxury, as Audre Lorde said. It is a vital necessity of our existence. It forms the quality of the light within which we predicate our hopes and dreams towards survival and change. First made into language, then into idea, then into more tangible action. Those are her words, not mine. Poems give words to our joys, our loves, our heartaches, and they give us a path forward. They have revolutionary power. And when you are devastated by the news and need to fight despair so you can act, you will need Ross Gay's A Small Needful Fact. You will need Lucille Clifton's Moves. And you will need Lauren Elaine's Ode to the Pantsuit. Thank you, Lauren. You will need Joanne Gabbin's resolve, her belief in the individual voice raised and amplified into a collective power for the past, present, and future good of all. Joanne, you have sown the seeds that help us to survive. And you have empowered and encouraged others to sow seeds too. That is your powerful and very generous legacy. Thank you and bless you.
Good evening, everyone. What is afternoon? Evening. My name is Dr. Angela Russell, and I am the class of '85, also a representative of the Lambda Chi chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So I'm here today because in 1985, I graduated, and that's when you came. So I never had a chance to experience you on campus, but I experienced you anyway. How did that happen? When I came to homecoming, it was as if I was a student here. And you embraced me as if I was one of your babies. So I just wanted to say thank you and have all of the Lambda Chi sorors, if you can stand up real quick. We started in 1978. You can sit down. So we started in 1978, and if I'm not mistaken, so that means we've been on the yard for 44 years. If I'm not mistaken, Dr. Gabbin was our graduate advisor for 30 of those 44 years. You are the person that embodies in our national hymn. I wrote some notes here. You're the one that embodies, we strive and we do things that are worthwhile and with a smile. That's true. So we just wanted to give you your flowers while you're here. We have one of two gifts. This is the first gift for you. Barbara.
Oh, thank you.
It says tea roses for all your years of dedication. And on the back it says Lambda Chi forever, 6/30/22.
Oh, beautiful.
The other gift that we have for you is a scrapbook that's not quite done. We're trying to capture special moments with you and all of the seeds that you have planted. You are our purest flower.
Really don't like this. It's beautiful.
So, hello.
volunteer. I would like to call forward Dr. Oris Griffith. Come help me. So I'm Linda Thomas, and I'm the president here in Harrisonburg, along with Dr. Griffith, who is our first vice president of the graduate chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. You know you didn't hear the last of us. Here in Harrisonburg. Right. And graduate advisor to Lambda Chi. So, for those of you who don't know, in 1908, the same year that James Madison University was founded, a group of college women formed the first sorority for black women who were bound by the bond of sisterhood and empowered by a commitment to servant leadership. 81 years later, in 1989, a group of women in Harrisonburg called the Harrisonburg Pearls, led by Dr. Joanne Gabbin, established our chapter, the Sigma Gamma Omega chapter, in that same sisterhood. We and our JMU undergraduate chapter are here and thriving in Harrisonburg because of Dr. Joanne Gabbin's personal connection. So I'm going to do something and ask all of the sorority sisters of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated to come up here. And so this includes our undergraduate chapter, our graduate chapter here in Harrisonburg. I just wanted to make sure you saw all of us, Joanne. On behalf of the Harrisonburg community and all of us who've been touched by Joanne, we present this gift to express our gratitude for her selfless acts of kindness and continued service to all mankind. And since I was very short, Lauren, I'd like to open it up. I got it. Yeah. What to say? Thank you very much.
All right, so my name is John Meck, and I work in University Advancement. I have my esteemed colleague, Karen Richmont, here with me today. And we are very fortunate to be the liaisons to the Furious Flower, which has paid joy and dividends in a way, Joanne, that we cannot describe in words. And I wouldn't try it. But when Joanne announced her retirement, Maylin Pereira, who's going to speak after us, who was chairman of their board, suggested that we pull together and get a gift in Joanne's honor. And her boards, we met a couple times, we talked about what would go into it. Her board said, let's try to raise $37,000 to represent the 37 years that Joanne has been at JMU. So we took on that ambition. Well, it's much like anything else in Joanne's world, the magic started to happen. And a group of champions started to rise to the surface. And many of you are in this room. It started with their advisory board, but it moved to AKA, it moved to her church, it moved to her family. Okay, come on up, Joanne, you know what's coming.
Oh my goodness.
And more than 350 people stepped forward and said, I want to make a gift to the Furious Flower to support the longevity of the center and to show our love and admiration for Joanne. And again, we're going to show you a number, Joanne, that's been raised to date, but it continues to climb. We had to stop at some point to print the check. But checks keep coming because of the love that people in this community, this campus, and all around the world feel for you, Joanne. So today, we want to honor you by letting you know that more than $80,000 has been raised.
Dr. Gabbin, you go in the middle? Yeah. All right. And 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Thank you.
And I have to follow that. So I'm Melinda Pereira, chair of the Furious Flower Advisory Board for the past 2 years, which have been great. I have a lot in common with Joanne. I'm an English professor specializing in African American literature, particularly Black poetry. I lead the Honors College at my university, only 10 years so far. I love art, and I'm an organization builder. But the sheer magnitude and impact of Joanne's accomplishments leave me in total awe. Everything she has done, as we have been hearing, is bigger than any of us can imagine. I hope to help everyone here today understand, if they don't know already, what a big deal the Furious Flower Poetry Center is in the Black poetry world and for James Madison University, which is now, thanks to Joanne, on the map, so to speak, for a lot of scholars, poets, and others. Furious Flower has been a key contributor to the explosion of Black poetry and scholarship since the 1980s. Everyone in Black poetry knows about the conferences, tries to attend them, and what happens and is said or done at them is talked about and thought about again and again, informing scholarship and poetry for years. It's really a who's who among the scholars and the poets. And if you weren't at the 25th anniversary gala in Washington, D.C., and you really should have been, it was like being at the Oscars of Black poetry and scholarship, where everyone who was anyone was there, except no winners or losers of awards, because Joanne wouldn't want anybody to feel left out, right?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow.
Like I said, the Oscars of Black poetry. Now, the next sentence I'm about to say isn't half as exciting now that Nikki's here. But at that gala, I sat next to Amanda Gorman, for goodness sake. Maybe the next Nikki Giovanni. when she was just the U.S. Youth Poet Laureate. It was before the inauguration. So beyond the conferences and the celebrations are the incredible Black poetry resources the center has created. Books and videos and recordings, and now online readings and workshops. It's a treasure trove for the entire world, and it's here at JMU. It's worth remembering, though, that when Joanne first came to campus, not everyone embraced and encouraged her visionary, talented self. Some faculty were not welcoming, and they made it racial. She had to overcome that obstacle, something many of us have had the privilege to be free of enduring. Joanne's creation of the Furious Flower Poetry Conference and later the Center, thus was not accomplished on a level playing field, making it even more extraordinary. And ironically, on the very terms on which she was rejected, Black identity, Black culture, have become a key feature of James Madison University as an institution. All right. Thank you. Sorry, I had to get back on me. Maybe those early objectors were afraid of the transformation Joanne's success would bring here. Knowing this history perhaps enables us to understand why Joanne selected these lines from Gwendolyn Brooks to be featured in her dedication of the 1994 first conference to Brooks, and later in her naming of the center. Time cracks into furious flower, lifts its face all unashamed, and sways in wicked grace. Joanne's furious flowering into a builder and a leader with institutional, national, and international impact has made immeasurable contributions to the field of African American poetry and to this university. The advisory board wishes her all the best as she sways with wicked grace into her well-deserved retirement. On behalf of the Furious Flower Poetry Center Advisory Board, I present Dr. Joanne Gabbin with this gift, which has a couple of really knockout bottles of champagne. We love her terribly.
How we doing? Thank you again so much for being here, and now I get to say some things. My favorite poem by Lucille Clifton has the lines, "Who did I see to be except myself? I had no model."
Yes.
I held that close for a long time as a young Black immigrant woman trying to be a poet. And then I arrived at Furious Flower. I've often said that when I came to Furious Flower, I didn't take a job, I found a home.
Yeah.
And that feeling was entirely inspired by the warmth, care, and openness I immediately received from Joanne Gabbin. Home is a place you feel safe. Home is a place you feel loved. Home is a place that has a hand in making you who you are. For the last 6 years, as Dr. Gabbin's assistant director, as she has mentored, supported, challenged, and straight up loved on me, I have had the privilege to bear intimate witness to the work that she has done for 37 years and what it takes to do it. I saw how to lead with compassion and conviction. I saw how to laugh and inhabit lightness even in the face of challenges and obstacles. I learned that tenacity, resourcefulness, and charm are a winning combination. I saw her stand in her authority with dignity and in her full humanity. and more importantly, to empower others to stand in theirs. I had a model. I learned what it meant to pull something relegated to the margins and truly center it, and then to hold and honor and preserve that center. I saw what it meant to shape a dream into a vision, activate a vision into a movement, guide that movement into a reality that for hundreds of writers meant they were seen, for readers meant that they saw themselves in literature, and that for American letters meant a more complete and robust and truthful representation. Her fruits, or should I say the flowers of her labor over the years, gave so many something to hold on to. And that is what inspired the gift I am honored to present her with today. Joanne.
This is too much.
As you step into the path ahead, because we all know Joanne and retirement is just another adventure, we wanted to give you something of what you have built to hold on to, a symbol of all your work, nurture, cultivation, and care.
That is gorgeous. Oh my goodness.
Almost done. So I wanted to know that you can take us with you. And because the other thing you've built is community, we wanted to share that community around the world wanted to wish you well. And so we have a digital scrapbook of well wishes. And I'm going to try to see if the tech will allow me to show you what I'm talking about. Oh, well, there it goes. So, Joanne, you are going to have access to this kudo board where, from everywhere, all over, we have been sending all of our messages, all of our love, and all of our congratulations. I'm trying to see if we'll be able to play a special one for you. Oh my goodness, now I have to find it because there are so many.
You passed by one.
We figured you would be, we think you'd be, you have a lot of time to look through them all.
No.
Can't hear it, we can't hear it.
No.
No, the volume, oh, well, you will be able to hear it at home. But Sister Sophia wanted to send her regards to you as well.
Oh my goodness.
Congratulations from all of us. The site is permanent. You'll have access to it forever. I hope you feel the love and the gratitude in this room for who you are and all that you've done. And we love you so much. Now we welcome you to the stage.
This has to be the most amazing day that I have experienced in a long, long time. to look out and see all of the people I love, my family, my friends, my sorors, who are my friends and my sorors, and my daughters, my wonderful colleagues who have supported me at this university, to see my neighbors. It is just a thrill to be so honored in this way. I'm really filled up right about now. And it's not, but I'm going to get through this because I don't want to miss my opportunity to say thank you.
Amen.
Lauren and I think alike, because I was thinking that I would recite, "Won't you celebrate with me?" What I have made into a kind of life. But I wanted to do the remix. I wanted to say, "Won't you celebrate with me that I was born black in Baltimore, and that because I was born black in Baltimore, I was born to two parents who knew that I would turn into somebody special."
All right.
And they invested in encyclopedia that they could not afford to buy. But they wanted to make sure that there were symbols of learning around our house. I am so blessed that when I was a young girl, just a teenager, I met women, I met girls who were 14, 15, and 16 from working class families in East Baltimore who said, "We might not have models, but we're going to make each other our models." And we decided that we were not going to get pregnant at 16,
Come on.
that we were going to finish high school, and that we were going to go to college. And I think some of those women are here. All the way from Baltimore. I want to thank all of the people who have helped so much to establish the honors program, which is now the Honors College here at James Madison University. And I'd like to see the hands of those people who taught in the honors program. Maybe not when I was there, but those of you who are part of the honors program and who have taught in it. All right, yes. Thank you. Because for so many, many years, that was my joy. That was my baby. And it was because of the honors program that I had a platform to even do the Furious Flower Poetry Conference. I couldn't have done it without that platform. And then all of the poets who have supported me, all of the critics. And I really want the poets who are here to stand up. All of the Furious Flower poets, everyone who has come here for poetry. Yes, I see you, Damaris Hill. I see you, Lady Tamara. And you know, I'm going to, because it's very, very important to me. Nikki is so important in my life. So I'm going to give over a little bit of my time to her. because I want her to say something, because I'll tell you, just like Malin said, it wasn't always easy here. And in 1987, when I invited Nikki Giovanni here to speak, after I had invited Gwendolyn Brooks, Nikki came and I was asking her just casually, what was she going to do next year? She said, well, by the way, I'm coming to Virginia. And so I said, oh, nice. And then I started thinking, I had been through so much in 1985 that I said, even Nikki might not be able to deal with what I went through. So I said, you know, we're going to have a gathering. And we're going to bring the women who are writers in Virginia to Harrisonburg, I said. And I want them to meet you so that you can have some support. And my husband canceled that. He said, well, Joanne, if you invite Nikki and all of your writer friends to Harrisonburg, to your house, you won't have any fun. And so we hatched the idea, or at least I did, to go to Wintergreen. And there started a 35-year tradition. And as quiet as it's kept, Nikki needed that support too. So what I'd like to do, I want to do, just have her come up and say a word, and then I'm going to come back up and say some final words to you. But you've made this day so special for me. As I look around and I want to call out everybody's name. I want to call out David Behringer's name because he represents Virginia Humanities, and if without Virginia Humanities, I don't think Furious Flower would have happened. So I want you to know that I'm very thankful. You know, I want to also look at all of the people who have worked with me as a part of Furious Flower Poetry Center. And I want to thank those people who are on the staff. All those people who have worked on the staff at one time or the other. Would you please stand? I see Ashley, I see Joe, I see Jessica, I see Karen. You don't do this by yourself. And I will always remember the love that Karen Wishmott gave to the staff and how she was reluctant to leave, but I'm so glad she left because whatever she did to raise $80,000, I'm for. All right. And I also need to say that we have had some amazing collaborators as a part of James Madison University. And of course, you all understand that this year, in January, we got a grant from the Mellon Foundation for $2 million. And it is because of the leadership of Bethany Davinsky and her library staff. So would you all stand up? That's tremendous. And you know, I'm very just so happy that I've been able to also meet wonderful friends outside of James Madison University. And we formed a book club. And we called it, interestingly enough, Wicked Grace. And by Wicked Grace, members are here. Some of them are here. So would you all wave your hands so they can see you? There they are. All right. So, this is just unbelievably wonderful. And as I look around, I want to add. Oh wow! This is fabulous. This is fabulous. My goodness. We have the new look for the Furious Flower Poetry Center. L. Renee Harris, she's here. Come. Tomorrow, Lauren K. Aline will take over as executive director. L. Renee, in the end of August, will take her position as assistant director. We have Amisha Anderson, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today because she's ill. She's in the hospital. We have Megan Medeiros, who is in London at this time. But we are building our staff, and we are just so excited about the future and how the future looks. It's beautiful. But I promised you, I just want to say one other thing. I want all of the board members who have served on the advisory board for Furious Flower to also stand up. And I see a lot of you here. So would you all stand up? All board members present and I am so delighted that Carter hangs around and that she does so much. Carter and Brent, they interrupted their main vacation to do flowers. Look at the decorations on your tables. They did all of those. She loves me with her gift of flower arrangement. And Brent loves me because he drives her around. So I just want Nikki to say a word to you, and then I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna have a little surprise for you.
Thank you. Mostly I want to be here because I want to apologize for being late, but we ran into two wrecks on I-81, which 81 is, thank God it wasn't us. And the noise you hear in the back is my daughter. Her name is Cleopatra. She's a little daughter. And she just didn't want to be home alone today. And so you can hear her running around. But Joanne gave us some background on the meeting. But the beginning of Wintergreen was because Joanne knew that I didn't know anybody. And I really didn't know that many black people, is what she didn't want to say it that way. And my friend and wonderful friend Jenny Fowler had recruited me to Virginia Tech. And Joe said, well, who do you know? And I didn't know anybody. And so that's how we did it. And we can thank Dave. And we have continued to grow Wintergreen. But I wanted to mention one thing that I'm sure Joe has mentioned at some point. We are friends of two people who are sitting in heaven right now saying, I wonder what they're going to say next. And that would be Maya Angelou and Toni Morrison. And I consider that JMU is our sister, is the sister relationship with Virginia Tech. And we want it very much because Tony always said there was no, we didn't have a bench. He said, nobody remembers slavery. There's not even a bench. And so people started to put benches. And I wanted, of course, JMU to have a bench for Tony, because I run a very small, not nearly what Joe does, poetry contest, and it's called the Steger. And the Steger Poetry Contest put a bench up. And we are so very pleased that if you don't have a bench, then where do you rest? So we're very pleased with that. And the other thing that happened that was important, that I don't know if you've mentioned or you intend to, but when Slade, Tony's son, died, I went down, here's only a few hours from Maya, and I said, what should we do? And we decided to have, not a celebration, because there's nothing to celebrate. You do not want to bury your child. It's just you don't want to do it. And Maya said, well, let's have it. And we were going to have it at Wake Forest. And then Maya, which we didn't know, but Maya was dying at that point. And she called me one day and she said, can you come down? And I did. And I went down and it was, she said, can you have it at Virginia Tech? And I said, you bet. But of course I had already asked Joe, because Joe has been my partner in many things. I guess there have been problems, but I look at problems differently. So people didn't like me at Virginia Tech. The president came over one day. Two people said, well, if you hire Nikki, I'm going to quit. And the president came over to the department and said, we want to thank them for their service. That's the truth. And, yeah, well, he did a good job. He got rid of it. We had that, and we called it Sheer Good Fortune. And we had Tony to come down, and Tony flew up. Jenny, I don't know if I should say this like that, but Jenny can drink most people under the table, except Tony or Mike. So I'm not good at that. So I said to Jenny, will you fly up to, the president gave us his plane. I said, will you fly up? Because I knew they would both drink vodka on the way down and they'd be happy. Jenny didn't know that Tony drank her under the table, didn't think anything about it. I don't know what you know about Tony, but she was a saint. And we know that the child of God changed water into wine. You know how important that was. But we came down and we had, which was so wonderful, we had Sheer Good Fortune. And the writers came, as many as we invited, and read their part. And what Tony said that evening is always, and what always stayed with me, is that if nothing in my public life ever happens again, this does it for me. And Joe and I were so pleased that we put that together. And I want to thank you. I do, again, apologize.
But you're here.
Well, I knew not to helicopter. But that'd be another discussion. But I want to thank, and I hope that we continue to be a part. I too am retiring. And so, I'll be 80 years old soon. And I recommend it. But thank you, and thank you for giving me this moment to explain why I was late, because I'm so embarrassed. I thought, oh, no. But I had to be here.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Well, you have, you were given a gift. And what's that little one's name back there? Cleopatra?
Let me take her out.
No, she's all right. Cleopatra, you're just trying to applaud your mom, right? Okay. I want to say just one other thing. You know, I'm here in Harrisonburg because of two people. Of course, my husband and my daughter. I must tell you that, fortunately, once we got down here, we met friends who supported our being down here. And one friend is sitting there, Linda Jackson Alexander. And I just want her to stand up and wave, because she's my first best
friend in Harrisonburg. And she's here with her husband, Vince. I needed people to embrace me as I came. But I want to share the podium for just a few minutes with my husband and my daughter. So, Naya, would you come up?
Yeah, yeah.
She should be a Toastmaster, and I'm going to embarrass her. But I just want you to say just a few words about your mom or about this journey. And then have your dad say just a few words.
Just a few words.
Just a few words.
I'm grateful to have been on this ride with this marvelous woman and this fabulous man. And I just thank God every day that I get to sit in the seat and witness and hear and understand where our place in history is, where her place in history will always be, as will my dad. So thank you to everybody who's here, and I'm going to yield the balance of my time.
He's dressed like that because he used to do that to draw people into the art gallery, and it worked.
I am used to Joanne doing this. So I wasn't entirely surprised when she did it. I'm not on the program by design, and that's probably a good thing. But nevertheless, I knew if Joanne got the mic, then probably she would ask me to speak. So I did collect my thoughts to some extent. But for the most part, I don't have notes. I don't have a written, prepared speech, even though I thought that she would probably ask me if she got to speak. Because from the very, very early days at Southern Baptist Church, when I was on the usher board, and you know, the elders there try to get the little kids involved with things to help them develop skills and all the rest of that. I learned that in speaking, I was safest when I simply turned inside of my heart and said what was there. So I didn't worry as much about prepared notes, although prepared notes are very good. I've given some speeches like that, but I've just learned to do that, just to trust what he puts on my lips and ask him to put it on my lips so that I don't misuse the gift he's giving me by being able to speak. So I'm going to start this way, and Joanne knew better. I heard y'all say brief. I heard it. And I've got a real general rule. If you don't want me to speak a long time, don't give me the mic. Because if you give me the mic, then I'm going to say what I feel I have to say. But you will get out of here eventually. Be encouraged. I'm going to say this at the start, then. It's very, very serious. I'm going to say this at the start. I want you to understand the setting for the comments that follow. If I were an umpire, baseball game, my ego is such that if I said it was a ball, go ahead and get that camera out, and you go ahead and you look at the video and you take a look at it. But when you look at it, that thing was real, real close. But yeah, he's right. What's going on? And if I said it was a strike, you may have your feelings about it, but when you went and put that thing in slow motion and took a look at it again, yeah, that thing's a strike. My ego is such that I like being right. If I was an umpire, I'd want to call that thing, and regardless of what anybody says, if I say it's a strike, it's a strike. In other words, my emotions are not involved with it. I'm not saying what I say because of feelings towards the batter, the pitcher, or anybody else. And so as a preamble to my comments, I'm not saying what I'm saying about Joanne because we're married. I'm not going to say what I have to say because I've known her a long time and all of that. No. I don't play that. My ego drives me. And if I have anything to say, it's because I believe it's a ball or a strike. I want to say, first of all, I want to thank you. I want to thank you. All. Every single one of you. Because you have no idea how good you're making that woman feel. Because she really, really appreciates your appreciation of her. That's the first thing. Second thing I want to say is this. Joanne is not here because Joanne thought this was part of her career path. I went through the entire story, and I won't go through all of it. Joanne is here entirely by something bigger than Joanne. And I know many of you don't like to go that route, and I'm not trying to proselytize anybody. But I'm going to say to you very clear, there is this piece of scripture that says, I, Paul, watered. I, Paul, planted, Apollos watered, but it was God who gave the increase.
Come on.
I was thinking when I interviewed for James Madison University that I was interviewing for a school right outside Washington, D.C. Because my plan was that I really was going to live and die when I went to Lincoln University at 30 years old. I was staying there. That's it. I'm going to be at Lincoln. Because I knew how to teach those black students how to do well in accounting and succeed in that world out there that I had come from in public accounting. So I was staying at Lincoln. But for the year or so, I figured I might have to do something else when I was finishing up my doctorate degree. So I was willing, at most, to commute from Pennsylvania down to D.C. if I got the job. That's my plan. I'm going to stay at Lincoln. But, for a while I may go ahead on and, yeah. Okay. They loved me in the interview. Loved me. I said, yeah, I'm feeling good too. We're inviting you to the campus for a visit. Oh, yeah. And they invited me. Where the devil is that place? That is not where I thought it was. Where? Whoa! I cannot commute from Pennsylvania down to that place. Oh my goodness. Oh no, that's awful. I ain't going down there. Let's do that. And I didn't just say I'm not coming because of the distance. I said I'm not coming because I really didn't realize where you were. But see, my wife got to have a job too. And I figured, nah, shoot it. They're just bringing me in. They don't have no spot for her. They said, don't worry, we'll figure that out. And they did. They ended up sending out an announcement saying that they wanted to be able to get a position in the English department, and they wanted somebody who had a PhD and a specialty in black literature. Only one person applied. Because they did not have PhDs and a specialty in black literature. Back then, that just was not the thing. Joanne did. One person applied. Guess who got the job? So they said, "Pope, we got that covered." Oh. Then I said, and I finally said, "Well, look, I don't think we can go down there because, gee whiz, well, I have never really brought my family into this really dominant white environment." Now, I had worked in, baseball teams and everything, and going to boys' high school and all that. And I had done it, but I said, whoa, y'all. I didn't march for Dr. King. I'm not bringing my wife down here into this. I'm coming down south with my family and that place down there. Now, see, me dealing with that stuff is one thing, but you start messing with my daughter and my wife, well, all bets are off. I'm not coming into that. They said, oh, Alex, it's not like that. Really, Alex? Why don't you and your wife come down here on a Commonwealth visiting professorship for 1 year? And if that don't work, you just go right on back. No big deal. I'll be honest with you. When the dean told me that, I went walking around an area that I usually would jog in the mornings, and I was crying. No joke. And praying. No joke. Because I said, God, I do not understand this thing now. I had no intention of be going down to a place like that far away. That is not what I wanted to do. And I got my little whatever. I got it all out of my system. And so at the time, I just, yeah, okay, fine. I came on down here because at the time, when I came out of school, at that point, we didn't have more than about 40 or so black folk who had a PhD in accounting. And so I was one of the few folks then that even could come into an environment like a JMU. And so I said, shucks, okay, fine, I'll go down there then. I wanted to stay at Lincoln, but I'll go, so I came. With the idea that, yeah, who knows. So initially, JMU was just hot for me. Joanne was sort of like, okay, if that's what we got to do to get him, all right, fine, we'll do it. And so they brought us down here, we both. And Joanne had a tough year that first year. Everything went well for me over in the College of Business. It went well for her. And for one reason, we decided to go ahead on and stay there. If you were to call my house now today and ask for Dr. Gabbin, do you know what I would say? Let me go get her. They ain't calling for me. And now, come on now, good people. I'm not chopped liver now. I mean, you know, but I'm over there in the College of Business, and the force is Joanne. And everything you have said about her is true. She is all of that. Now, I want to throw this out, and she's trying to get me to stop, but I told you to give me no mic. I'm going to throw this out, and I want to leave this with me. I like to look at my daughter and Joanne, and I like to call us a three-legged stool. You know, we make certain we hold everything up together, covering different aspects of it, but holding everything up. The thing I want to say to each and every one of you is this. Had not things worked the way they work, we wouldn't have even been here. And the purpose of in spite of all I had about my blackness, you know, and the fact that I'm a race man and I'm going to work at this historically black college or university that's the oldest in the nation, and I'm going to dedicate my life to that, and God, that's what I'm going to do. No. He brought me down here to bring her down here so that this would be the end of it years later. And so what I've got to say to you is, when he's speaking to your heart, and he will speak to your heart, and I'm not trying to say what kind of belief you have or religion, I'm not talking about that. All I'm saying is that he will speak to your heart. And he's prepared every single one of us for something special. Some folk are in one part of the vineyard doing one thing. Other folk in other part of the vineyard doing other things. My job was to make certain this woman was free enough to do what it is she's capable of doing. You will have a job too. And whatever that job is, or however he speaks to your heart, you go ahead on and you play your role in that. And we as a people will be fine.
That's good.
Celebrate with me. Lucille Clifton's words that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed. But I said, there's a remix. Won't you celebrate with me that something tried to discourage me? Won't you celebrate with me that even though something tried to turn me around, won't you celebrate with me that even though people wanted to erase me, even here, but won't you celebrate with me that I not only succeeded, but I have prevailed.
Yes.
Yes. And you have helped me do that. So thank you, all of you. I love you. Thank you for coming and being here with me on this very, very special day. Your comments were absolutely beautiful. Thank you. The Provost, Heather Coltman. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Sean. I want to thank Fletcher in his absence. I want to thank all of you who have spoken. You spoke so beautifully. And I will treasure those words in my heart. And you're all invited to my house. 215 Campbell Street. If you want to come and come past, you're welcome. I'm going to be there all evening. Thank you all so much. Wonderful, wonderful. And would you please thank Lauren, would you please thank Lauren Elaine for organizing this? And wish her well for what is going to be an amazing, amazing future for Furious Five. Yes.
Can everyone take a few steps forward? That just we're out of the. Take a few more steps. Almost. You want to go? Let's have you all play. All right. You won't. This looks like the movies. This is great. And 3, 2, 1.